So guys, it finally happened. James Harden was officially traded to the Philadelphia 76ers in return Ben Simmons. And that's the premise of today's entire video. I'm going to be making back-to-back videos talking about this trade from Philly's perspective and from the Brooklyn Nets perspective. And in today's video, we're doing it from the Philly side of things because in my opinion, both teams really didn't lose this trade. However, Philly definitely got the better of this trade. The biggest reason why is because their trade actually helps them out this season. And Brooklyn's really doesn't. I mean, we look at this from the Brooklyn Nets, which I'm going to be really explaining tomorrow. That team is really looking more so for next season and probably the future. Philly is saying, yo, we got to capitalize on Joel Embiid probably being the MVP right now, leading the NBA in scoring. We got to capitalize on that right now. And they didn't really give up all that much if you think about it. I mean, they lost Drummond. That's kind of a big deal, I guess. He's really the backup. They lost Seth Curry, which some might say is a loss, but getting James Harden back, to me, James Harden is not washed, and I still don't get why James Harden is getting some of the backlash that like he actually is. It's kind of confusing. They obviously send off Ben Simmons, who clearly didn't play, and I gotta be honest, Ben Simmons, even being in Philly, limited Joel Embiid so much, and I think that Joel Embiid and James Harden are just a match in heaven. I mean, look at some of James Harden's best years. It's when he actually had a competent big. And I feel like the Brooklyn Nets stint, they would have won the championship eventually, but him in Philly with Joel Embiid, the pick and rolls, the oops, I think this is a way better fit. James Harden is the guard that honestly Joel Embiid has been looking for. Philly kept all the assets they really wanted. They kept Maxey, kept Matisse Thybulle as well. And those two first-round picks are, I believe the Brooklyn Nets get this year's draft pick, and they also get a top 8 protected pick in like 2023. And something about deferring it as well, so didn't give up that much. I know that people are really hung on those 2 first-round picks. Those picks are more than likely not going to be good picks. It's not like what Brooklyn gave up to actually get James Harden. But yeah, guys, back to James Harden. I don't really get why James Harden is really getting this label as a quitter, and I'm probably going to reiterate this in my next video, but James Harden did not quit on the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets clapped on itself. I mean, people were saying James Harden is washed. Out of the entire big 3, James Harden has the best record on that team. James Harden has played more games than Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving on that team, and he was there for a whole season less. James Harden was the only consistency there, and James Harden saw his teammate sitting out games randomly last season, and then this season he can only play the away games, and he already missed half of the season anyways. People saying that James Harden didn't buy in. What was there exactly to buy into? Because honestly, he's the only person who actually sacrificed. I mean, coming here, his scoring numbers went so much down because he took on being a playmaker only and not even looking to score because of Kyrie Irving. And we have Kevin Durant, to where Kevin Durant was having a MVP season, but you guys got to realize that Kevin Durant has missed stretches this year and last season. That is not a good sign, and I feel like James Harden wanted out, which is also another kind of weird thing because he never publicly said this. Even Woj said that internally James Harden said, I wanted to actually be here. So he didn't quit on this team. Those guys weren't as urgent to win a championship, and you can tell. Technically, he never requested a trade. The Nets were just afraid that this summer he was just going to leave them and join Philly anyway. Philly is so invested in this team, and you look at this team, there are no weaknesses. You have scoring. Between James Harden and Joel Embiid, you have defense. Matisse Thybulle, you have Tyrese Maxey, who is a budding star. You also have Tobias Harris. And the one thing about Tobias Harris is, yes, as a number 2 option, a number 2 scoring offensive option, Tobias Harris is buns. As the 3rd or 4th option, that dude is a hooper, and I feel like this team can actually have a shot at winning it this season because I don't see chemistry problems with this team. The only thing about this team that actually concerns me is probably Doc Rivers. They also have 2 extra roster spots as well, so I'm pretty sure that they're gonna add in some more shooters out there. I look at this team now, and I'm like, yo, this is the perfect team. James Harden has a dominant big. James Harden has shooters around him, and I'm really surprised that like this trade went through. I did not think that Philly was gonna ever be able to actually get James Harden or any good piece for Ben Simmons, and it looks like everything aligned to actually make this happen. So I'm really intrigued, y'all. I think that out of the Eastern Conference, I think Philly's probably my 2nd best team there now. I mean, the only team that I think is a massive problem is probably the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks built everything around Giannis, and that team is just perfect. But looking at some of the other competition, Miami's great as well. I still think that they got no answer for Joel Embiid, and I feel like they would match up well against them. Brooklyn, to me, isn't a threat this season because, once again, Kyrie can only play half of the games. Ben Simmons hasn't played in like nearly a year, and Kevin Durant has already missed like 10 to 15 games, and we don't even know when actually coming back. Brooklyn has a strong possibility of ending up in that play-in game. This team has tons of potential, and I really look forward to hearing what you guys have to say about it in the comment section below. In my opinion, I think that Philly definitely got an A in this trade. To me, the draft picks and the players getting back Paul Millsap and James Harden and giving up like 3 players in draft picks sounds bad, but in reality, it's worth it. Ben Simmons wasn't playing here, and Ben Simmons didn't really even fit this team. Seth Curry is kind of a hit, and Drummond is kind of a hit, but I think that those 2 guys are kind of replaceable. You're getting a whole 22, 10, and 8 guy in James Harden, which is something that they didn't have before. I think that Philly's gonna be just fine, y'all. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Go ahead and like this video, go ahead and subscribe, and I'm dropping part 2 talking about Brooklyn in the next video, because once again, there were honestly no losers in this trade. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace, y'all.